students who belong to rural background use telephone connectivity, and it's the other way around. If you're going for wireless, you see the 56.3% students are using wireless connectivity who belong to urban areas, which means again just like the networks, and here also the technology, which is preference of rural people is different than the urban people. It's not preference, it may be the question that the availability also, because if you see the earlier table, everybody wants to use, but then it's a question of availability. So there is a clear-cut digital divide among urban and rural students. The next slide, the digital communication provision of the university. You see the student login, which is, I think, I'm not taking offense of universities like Delhi here in Delhi. I have been with Delhi University for roughly 22 years, but still they are thinking of providing student login, and I feel very proud that the Kanpur University has already provided student login. What it means really? Any student who is registered with the university, you can create your own login and password, and as long as you are a student of the university, be it a graduate course or until PhD, your login and password valid, you can communicate with the university through same user ID and login. So it's really, really very appreciated step taken by the university. Then examination form downloads is, I think it's a common thing available in most of the universities. The enrollment form is also not something new. Result is very common, and that's why you can see the percentage of people who are aware of these things. And then the lectures, very few people, probably students don't find that the faculty is using, there is communication from, digital communication from the university. Digital library, maybe SST and IET may be provided, but then traditional colleges like DP Verma, there is absolutely no digital library communication, but yet students have given digital library provision from the university. Maybe some institutions have access to digital library provided by the university. And then the provision for communication with university is basically email. One was the student login where you can communicate, but then here provision of communication with the university basically is the email kind of thing. The next slide, we talk about the ICT used by faculty for teaching, and this is used by faculty, but the opinions are of students. You see the preparation of class notes is just 33.3% of students think or they feel that the faculty is using ICT for preparation of the class notes. Preparation of literature, again very less percentage. For better illustration of ideas, fairly large percent, in fact the largest percentage of students feel that the ICTs are being used for illustration of ideas, and that is, I think, is more relevant to science courses and engineering courses. And for better explanation of concept is the same kind of thing, where you require really conceptual understanding of the course which you are studying. Could be rude. And the next slide is reason for not using ICT by the faculty. Very important slide. ICT, lack of ICT infrastructure in the institution. Everyone knows. Here in Delhi also in many colleges, you may not find the infrastructure up to the mark, and forget about the UP and that too, particularly a district which is not considered a very advanced district, though the district has been selected as one of the E-districts of the state. So ICT infrastructure is a problem there. So don't appreciate, probably they don't like ICT tools. They prefer the traditional way of getting the notes and all those things. And then the purpose of ICT used by students. Downloading, you see here, again there is a clear-cut digital divide. Rural people is just 30%, whereas the urban students, more than double the percentage of rural students, they use this facility for downloading the examination form and then downloading the enrollment form. You can see here, and probably highest percentage of results, because whether the student belong to rural or urban, they use ICTs for seeing their results. And then the reading material and offline lectures, a very slow response. Most of the students have not responded. And then communication with the university is also very significant, because less percentage of students who belong to rural India, they communicate, whereas the percentage of students who belong to urban, the percentage is much higher. In fact, it's more than 6 times, 7 times roughly. Then the level of satisfaction of ICT use. These 4 questions were asked. Are you satisfied with the digital facilities provided by the university? It's the opinion is more or less similar, 62.5 and then 65.6. The second opinion, are you satisfied with the ICT in facilities provided by the institutions? It's almost, opinion is divided 17.5% to 40.6%, and then the next is, are you satisfied with the extent of ICT use? Opinion is not divided, more or less the similar percentage of rural and urban students give the similar opinion. The last, are you satisfied with the ICT infrastructure? You can see the clear-cut difference. Rural people are not satisfied, whereas urban students are satisfied. The reason being probably they don't have access to those things, and that's why they are not satisfied. Initiative to improve use of ICT in higher education. This is the opinion expressed by the students. They say faculty needs to be motivated to use ICT for teaching. Very high percentage, 61.1% of students feel that faculty needs to be motivated. Government should provide ICT infrastructure. Fairly large number of students said it's needed. Two important things, they feel that the cyber cafe should be set up in the premises of the institution on private-public partnership, so that, even if they are willing to pay, but it should be available. And it's roughly 64% of the students feel that facility should be available. And very important finding is there should be a compulsory paper of ICT use for every student on the lines of environmental paper. You might be knowing that I believe, to the best of my knowledge, all the Indian universities have a compulsory paper for environmental studies. I think it's done by the Supreme Court directives. And students say that on the same line, if a paper is there on the application of ICTs, just ICT literacy, this will really improve the knowledge of students with regard to use of ICT. It's a very important finding. And then finally, we summarize the findings. One, initiatives taken by the university for digital student library interface are appreciated by majority of students. There is a need for regular faculty upgradation program to motivate them to use ICT-led teaching technology methods. Awareness among students is also needed so that they can appreciate and make use of ICT in a more effective manner. And last but one, cyber cafe on the basis of private-public partnership model may be set up in the premises of the institutions. And the last, they feel having a compulsory paper at the graduation level on the lines of environmental paper is expected to help students to acquire more knowledge about the digital technologies, and by doing so, certainly a digital divide among rural and urban students can be reduced. Thank you very much for your kind attention.